Cyberpunk 2077 is the worst, most horrible game ever to have the honors of being witnessed by the human race. We had to wait 8 years for this game to come out, and yet somehow it's still a horrible, buggy, unplayable mess that's so far removed from a video game that even your little cousin at Thanksgiving wouldn't play it if it was an app on your iPhone. Doo-doo, diarrhea, dookie, amongst other synonyms for anal evacuations are the only things that come to mind after looking at this rancid game. Before I can even begin to attempt to describe how I feel about the game itself, I need to emphasize the amount of raw hype and anticipation there was for this so-called video game. It was announced in 2013 and advertised to be on the next-gen, quote-unquote, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. From that day forth, I looked forward to the game not only because it appeared to be interesting, but also because it was supposed to be revolutionary in terms of graphics, with the implications of it being on next gen. I of course immediately marked it on my calendar, as I always do when I see a trailer I like for a video game, but as time went on there became less and less games on my calendar other than Cyberpunk. As the years went on, there was basically radio silence on the game until that infamous E3 day. At that point, Cyberpunk was the only thing I was looking forward to in terms of gaming, but also in terms of real life, so I was obviously excited for the trailer. And there he was, Keanu Reeves himself. I couldn't believe my eyes. My hero, Keanu Reeves, the most wholesome man alive, was going to be in this incredible masterpiece of a game. At this point, I was fully committed to getting the game, and it was the #1 thing I looked forward to in my everyday life. Unfortunately, things went downhill shortly after the announcement. Not only did the coronavirus hit, but I also got a divorce from my wife, and she took my PlayStation 5. Normally I would be upset by this because, well, it's a PlayStation 5, but I didn't care at all because not only did I still have Cyberpunk to look forward to, but I also pre-ordered the Xbox One special edition of Cyberpunk, meaning I get an entire console dedicated to what I've been dreaming of. As I fought through the many dreaded days of quarantine amongst other everyday obstacles, the time drew closer and closer to the release day. But of course, it wasn't that easy. Right before the release day, my dog died, then my cat died, then my goldfish died, then my llama died, then my hamster died, and I had to take my lizard to the vet because I had to put it down due to a horrible, incurable disease. But I didn't let any of that get to me because I still had one hope, which was Cyberpunk. But eventually, it happened. Cyberpunk 2077 came out. At this point, I had no job and rent was coming up soon, but I had at least 4 full days of power for me and Cyberpunk alone. I spent the very last bit of money I had on Red Bulls and other various energy drinks so I could play for the full 96 hours and worry about sleep later. But as I, along with everyone else, soon found out, the game was horrible. I guarantee the average person has more fun during the create a character menu than they do throughout the entire rest of the game, which, by the way, they recently had to have an update adding a mirror because without it there was literally no other way to see your character in the entire game because it was in first person. Also, the characters are ugly.
That was Burger Andy.
These are the most hideous. I hate the future. Are any of these supposed to look cool? Like, no, I don't want to be any of these. What is that? Why the fuck would anyone buy this?
Let's pick the worst one.
Stop. Just go in and cut.
The game also doesn't even work. It quite literally has every single possible glitch you could think of entangled into its disgusting code. EA makes better games than this. Ubisoft makes better games than this. Not only does it look worse than some PlayStation 2 games, but you can't even play the game. For a matter of fact, I didn't even realize that the textures weren't fully rendered in until the very end of the game because that's when they finally rendered in. The entire game I had to deal with the horrible blurry non-rendered sub-PlayStation 2 graphics on top of the uncountable glitches. Sometimes people just disappear, even people you're fighting. Sometimes people don't die, sometimes you fall over for no reason. Mirrors are usually broken. People attack you during the pause screen. The police will come out of nowhere. Sometimes the police will fall for no reason. Sometimes you fall through the floor or through walls. Cars don't even work. Their physics will just break and start decombusting until the car explodes. The people in this game don't even move their mouths when they talk, and if you're lucky, they just stand there because most of the time they're crumbled up into pretzels of human beings that are hard to even look at. Literally, how does this even happen? 8 years of development and the game gets a piss-dripping award for the most broken AAA game ever to release? But why did it have to be Cyberpunk, of all games? Keanu Reeves' name will be forever stained and tarnished by the abysmal excuse for the video game known as Cyberpunk. I would try to look for the good parts of this game, but doing that would be like bobbing for apples in a public porta potty. Even if I find something, it's not like anyone would be enjoying it. With the amount of build-up for this game compared to the sheer unplayableness of everything about the game itself, it literally doesn't make any sense at all how this could possibly happen. Did no one even play the game at all? Did they literally spend all of the development time on the features and customization and advertising and merchandise? Why would no one take even a second to play this game and just see how horrible it looks and plays? My life is completely ruined. This is the one and only thing I had to look forward to, and it was botched just like every other AAA game I pre-ordered. Maybe at least I can make a Reddit post complaining about it and getting some of that sweet, sweet karma. Cyberpunk 2077 is obviously the most horrible excuse for a video game ever to come out, just period, in general. And luckily I didn't waste my money figuring that out. I could just tell by watching YouTube videos.